You are now listening to the Cheatcoders podcast with Nats and Raf.
Good morning, good evening. Once again, it's Nathan here.
What up? And Raph.
Yeah, you get introduced your name, fool. It's Nathan, Raph, the Cheatcoders. Special episode for you guys today. Why is that, Raph?
Because it's the Dirty 30.
Whoop!
Dirty 30 episode.
Bro, give me the soundboard.
So we're gonna, you know.
Can you give me the soundboard? That was a perfect time to put the air horn. Come on, bro.
I totally forgot we had the soundboard. Just
I'm like looking at you like, dude, are you gonna press it? And I'm like, am I gonna have to mouth it?
Right.
Like,
Alright, I'll move the soundboard much more closer to me.
excellent. That's
Air
cool,
horn,
dude.
air horn.
There you go.
Ow.
Hey, what about the clap,
Sweet.
man? Dirty 30, Raph. 30 episodes. That's
Dirty
quite an accomplishment.
30s, Dirty 30s.
I like
Dirty
it. I like
30
it.
episode.
I like that. I like that. Very cool.
It's a new milestone, you know?
It's quite a milestone when you think about
Like
it.
thinking about it, that we've been talking for about 30 hours in a podcast.
Hey, essentially,
possibly
that's right.
even
That's
more.
that's a whole day. Like, if we listened to every episode we've done since the beginning, it'll be a whole day's worth. Like, we could have a Cheatcoders marathon. But, like, yeah,
Definitely.
Of course, we don't listen to our own podcasts.
No, we never do that. Like, I just drop it and then
That's
it's
it.
out
It's
out
the
there for the
past.
world to see or hear.
That's when people reference
It's
or
the
ask me.
past,
It's like,
man.
oh, that part you mentioned in the podcast. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't know. I always look forward. I don't know what I said in the past. I'm just moving forward all the time.
It's going to come to a point that we're going to be so open in our podcast that people will start knowing us, and then they'll like approach us and be like, this and this, all this personal stuff. And then we're going to look at them and be like, how the hell did you know that? It's like, oh,
It could be happening now,
I forgot to
dude.
do the podcast. Yeah,
That's true.
possibly.
It happens a lot, actually. Let's do a bit of reflecting. It's been since December since we started this, right? December or November?
December.
I think we've come
No,
up
we
pretty
started
well,
at
dude.
the beginning of December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
It's
You still
become a
enjoying this? Or are we
big
going to stop
journey.
this after this episode?
Yeah, bro. No, we have this pact that if it's not fun, we're leaving.
Yeah.
And still, I'm here.
Still
I'm
exist,
here.
still is. Still
Right
having a
here,
good
talking
time.
to you. You're in London. I'm in Sydney. We're still talking and doing these episodes. I'm just glad that we still have that motivation that we had in day one. Probably
Maybe
day
when-
3, because the first 2 episodes were just like, we don't know.
We don't know what the fuck you're doing. Yeah. I'm going to, like, just for fun, I'm going to pour a wine later, drink some wine, and listen to episode 1, just for kicks. And, like, you know, quick plug, we usually do these at the end of the episode, but if you're listening, get a Mixcloud, because I think every episode, obviously we only started Apple Podcasts from episode 28 or 29, 27, only because we just discovered it. But if you want
27 onwards, yeah.
27 onwards is on Apple Podcasts, only because we discovered that we can get on Apple Podcasts. But if you want to go to trip down memory lane and see what we're about, check us out on Mixcloud, mixcloud.com/the Cheatcoders. Early beginnings.
Yep.
You can still be
Yep.
part of this ride because
Yep.
it's still early days.
Yep.
Still early days. So,
Every day.
and we're going
Part
to
of
keep
the
going.
grind.
We're going to
Day
keep going. You
one.
know why? Because it's God's plan.
God's plan.
You got to be quicker with this, man. You got to be I'm like, it's God's
Hey,
plan.
no, I think the pace is all right. It's just the lag from country to country that's making it seem like that. Don't worry, I got it handled. I got it handled. Bro.
Okay, all right. I'll trust Jove. Okay, let's go. Hey, quick one, man. Just to keep the convo flowing. Dude, what the hell is that?
Sorry, I went crazy with the cheese. Yeah, keep the combo flowing. Yeah.
I've got a topic, especially for the 30th episode. I just thought about this a couple minutes ago. I thought it's fitting for the topic. 30, dirty 30. Obviously, we're both 30. You turned 30 just January.
2 months ago.
2 months ago,
Yeah,
wasn't long
January.
ago. We didn't really delve into it that
Yeah.
much, like your 30th birthday. I remember, like, we talked about vaguely. I can't remember which episode it was, but we had that crazy night. It was fun. But I think it's quite fitting now that you've been 30 for about 2 months. I've been 30 in my 30s for about a year. And I guess we can both we're in the same boat now. We've got the groove. We've made that transition. I wrote it down, what I wanted to discuss.
Oh, this guy's all prepped up.
Yeah, bro.
You've changed, man. You used to be unorganized. You used to be
bro.
the type of person be like, oh, I'll just think on the spot. Remember when we did our top fives, which is going to be the secret episodes?
Yeah, how did
Yeah,
that
you
go?
didn't
We had
have
to,
a list,
we had
you
to
just
scrap that episode, didn't we?
Yeah. So when there's a time where you can't do the podcast, I'll just drop a secret episode just to keep that consistency going. You know what I mean?
And we look completely different. We're still in Sydney. It's like, did he go back to Sydney for like a quick episode and then go back to London?
Oh, they won't know because it's audio only. So yeah, it's all good.
All right.
Secret
Dirty
episodes
30s.
coming soon,
We've
guys.
both been 30 for a bit. We know it's like.
Yep.
I've been doing a lot of reflection lately, just for myself personally. And I think it'd be good. Like, we can bounce off each other now that we're both in the same boat. Things that mattered when you were 20, as opposed to now that you're 30. We're gonna do a bit of a parallel episode. We're gonna go back to 20-year-old Raph and Nats, and just see like shit we gave a f about back then, as compared to now. Because there's not much I really care about as much these days.
Good topic.
Good topic.
Actually.
Excellent.
Yeah, man.
Clap,
20s.
motherfucker.
The 30s is the new 20s. Sorry, man. Once I get into these conversations, I just lose track of the soundboard.
Hey, that job's still up there for interns that want to be a DJ full time for the Cheatcoders. Just hit us up in the DMs.
Yeah,
and,
man.
You can sit next
Yeah,
to
man.
Raph right
we
there.
might
and all you
have
do.
sit next to me, and then every time you notice us doing some epic stuff, just do the air horn, and then just cue in the drops. It's gonna be awesome.
That's
And
it.
plus, probably we probably get you to do, just look through our stuff, as in like make sure to put some timestamps on our conversations. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work actually. Don't worry about it.
we can't pay you once again. We can't pay you.
We can't pay you, eh?
We pay each other out, but that's about it. We'll pay you out as well.
I remember back in the day when we were doing the rap stuff, when people be like, "Oh, do you want to perform at our gig at this event?" And then like, "Oh yeah, what's the payment?" Is they're like, you'll get a lot of exposure," and then you'd be like, "You can't put exposure in the bank, I can't pay bills with exposure."
I hated it. Every time I used to hear that, I used to get so annoyed. It's like, oh, you gotta earn your stripes, man. You gotta get that exposure first. So that's what I can give you. And I'm just like, this serious? Like, come on, man. Like, I gotta eat here,
Yeah, I know.
I'm struggling.
I
bro.
gotta eat, man.
To
I
an
can't go to
extent-
Macca's and then swipe my exposure into the FPOS machine and get a fucking McNugget meal and stuff.
Yeah. Exposure.
And then it comes full circle. Now we're out here asking for interns, and we'll pay them with exposure.
It's quite hypocritical,
Which
isn't it?
segues to what we were like in 20s, and then what we're like now in our 30s.
Nice, good save. We were kind of drifting a bit, but that's pretty much what I wanted to go on about, Things that used to matter. Look, sorry, I should have been a bit more prepared. I had the topic, but I'm trying to think like what things even mattered to me back when I was 20. Now that I think about it. A lot of superficial stuff, Raph? Before it was just a matter of, well, we didn't grow up like normal 20-year-olds, I guess, kind of thing. Like, we've already spoken about when we started getting out there, we went about clubbing and partying. We were kind of nerds in its own right. We were trying to be rappers, and that wasn't very common, especially back then, right? Like when you looked around,
that took most of our 20s. Yeah,
it kind of made us a bit more socially outcasted, but in a sort of good way. Like it sort of gave us a sense of importance. That's what I thought. Like that's the ego talking. But right now, obviously, that wasn't the case. Like I look at it, it's kind of just funny. But before, we kind of thought we were superheroes because you look at everyone else in the same demographic. You got dancers, you got everyone identified to this is what I do. But it wasn't like such a widespread thing at the time. Whereas today, a lot of people are doing amazing things. Everyone's in their own right, has their own sort of craft and can shine. But it sort of saturates the entire market. Because if you say you're a rapper these days, it's kind of lame, right? Like even now, I don't go to people like, yeah, I'm a rapper. It's like, oh yeah, a SoundCloud rapper, eh? It's kind of lame, right? Especially at my age now that I'm 30. Back then, it was actually a cool thing. It kind of made us cooler than what we were. Because we weren't cool kids. All of us. Even like all the boys. We're all kind of like compensating with the rap music, right?
Yeah, that was just kind of
It was like a pause. Do you agree with
thing.
it? You had a bit of a pause. I'm like, do you
It's
agree?
kind of like our facade. Yeah. Don't worry. Just don't worry about the pauses. I think that's the lag in
it's
the
the lag, yeah.
Skype. But I think the whole stigma of I'm a rapper has grown through that saturation of music of
Yeah.
everyone nowadays can be a rapper. Everyone
Exactly.
nowadays can be a DJ. Everyone can pick up a camera or their iPhone and
Everyone's
become a videographer.
Everyone, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to be. I don't like being like one of those old heads. It's like, oh, back in my day, because that just makes us look old. We're not old. We're still in the game. You know what I mean? But it's just
we're not
it's crazy.
discrediting anyone who's doing that grind because
we're doing it now.
Nowadays, it's just the pool has grown into like an ocean,
And I keep saying it's a world of opportunity. The more people are in the game, the more exciting it is. Because, you know, if that's where the attention is and that's where the, you know, the focus is on everything, why not build it up kind of thing? It might be a bit harder to stand out, but when you do, you've got a big audience right there for you kind of thing. But once again, going back to 20s, right? So in our 20s, felt a bit cool. I remember when you, me, Ello, we used to go to Mount Druitt, Westfields, and then like just a glimpse of someone looking at us and like, oh, they know us, bro. They know our music, man. It's like, oh, they looked at you, Nats. Yeah, they know it's your song because you dropped it the other day. For all we know, they could have just been normal bystanders walking past. And who doesn't look at other people when they're at the mall? But we just had this thing in our head.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost delusional. To an extent, you know what I mean? Like, it was very rare.
Yeah, it became very delusional.
It was a very rare circumstance we might bump into someone. Like, it's happened to all of us. I know it's happened to you. It happened a lot to Christian because he was obviously a good-looking kid and a lot of girls loved him back then, you know, with his following. But I think our minds played it bigger than what it was. Like, we thought we were superstars.
Like I remember a time I've had a couple of people when I used to work at Surf Dive. One person actually came up to me and asked if they could take a photo with me, which was so surreal. And it was funny because like all my Caucasian workmates, they were looking like at the corners like why are these guys taking a photo with this guy?
Like, what is it? What's so significant?
And then I'm like, oh, it's just my YouTube following. And then this other guy came up. It's usually a guy. It's never girls because like I'm just a geek like that. But a guy came up to me and I was like at the skateboard section trying to look like I know how to do skateboard stuff, like repair it. And then he was like, "Hey, you're from YouTube. You're Mr. Raf, aren't you? You do those raps and stuff." And I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. It's weird because it's funny because they recognize you as that person, but then I'm in a retail store as a salesperson.
It doesn't.
Obviously, I haven't gone that far. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. No, it was cool, but like those things meant so much to me back in those days. Like that was just, I guess that was one thing, you know, like popularity was a big thing when you're 20, right? And I think that came into play because the reason why I wanted to get into this was like I said, for us, special case maybe because we had the music thing going, which made us a bit. I know for a fact if I didn't do music, I'd be like not the most popular kid. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
those things mattered, like being accepted, being in the cool group, like finally being part of the cool, like being surrounded by these such talented and cool people. Because we always felt we were sort of the outcast. So when we're like performing at dance events, you kind of felt like I'm part of this movement too. I don't dance, but like I'm performing at these events kind of thing. And even just like people that you don't think would ever associate with you in the cool group. It's like high school. You know, there's like in an American high school, like the jocks, the nerds, the thinger. It sort of propelled you into that higher bracket of society. Society, is that the right? I don't think society, but you know what I mean when you look at it in that especially in your 20s. It was such a big deal. How many girls you knew as just friends at this stage? Because you know we were kind of socially awkward, like having a girlfriend. Like money was minuscule. Like I see how like there was a phase like the curve started ending. Like in your late 20s, it's just more about what are you doing now in terms of like money and like that sort of thing started morphing towards your 30s. But strictly speaking, because we're talking 20s right now, some of those things were just so insignificant now, in a sense, eh?
Yeah, we just splurged on everything. Like I'd save up for a pair of sneakers, you know, $300 sneakers.
This guy had customized
$100 hats,
customized Air Force Ones from a good friend Lothario Starr, aka Billy the Kid.
customized shoes.
Sneak preview.
customize everything. Like everything was all aesthetics centric, as in like the way you look was gonna build you up to your image that you created in your raps, or the way you the way you rapped and you presented yourself would build you up to that status quo of popularity and everything.
Yeah.
It just we just splurged on everything because we can. Living with my parents, they cooked everything, they paid all the bills.
Exactly.
You know, I didn't have a car, so I just took public transport. You know, no bills, no debt. And you know, I this was before uni, so I didn't have the uni debt or anything. So it was just like money just, you know, raining out of my wallet. It's just crazy.
What did you first real job? What did you get on your first paycheck? Do you remember?
I'll speak to my. I don't remember what I got. I remember shouting to family, the typical stuff. I thought I was a king. I was talking to my sisters about this. They were like, remember the time when you worked at the taxation office? Because you know it was good money.
I remember that. Yeah, I
it was
remember you
good
worked
money
at the
then.
taxation office. Yeah. And then
and like it was good money. It was a good time. Like I admit that I make more money than I did then, but I didn't have all that debt and all the expenses then. And then back then I was just like, I'm gonna buy a pool table for the family. I'm gonna get a ping pong table here. We're gonna get a better screen, TV. And then a week later, I got let off.
You got it figured out. Like when you're 20, in your 20s, you just think there's this sense of like almost invincibility because everything's almost all new, right? You haven't really like experienced a lot of stuff yet. Like a lot of stuff that can only be experienced through time. So because everything's new, it's like when you start a rap career, it doesn't matter what kind of song you make. You're just dropping it. It's all new, and it's like it doesn't matter if it hits or misses. It's kind of like that in a sense. You can't go wrong. And first thing I bought a PlayStation, man. I think I've said this before, but my first paycheck, same thing that you're saying now. I just felt like, man, I'm killing it now. You don't realize that the actual responsibilities of an adult. It's like reality is you're gonna have no money.
It didn't kick in.
the moment you have real responsibilities, you realize like, dude, life's a struggle, eh? Like this is like survival mode right now kind of thing. Because first paycheck, when you're 20 and you're earning like X amount, like doesn't matter where, you just like, that's a lot of freaking money. You go from like, once you make that transition from getting an allowance, if you even got an allowance from your parents, to earning, you're just like, holy shit, I'm in the game kind of thing. And then like, only to get crushed later on.
Gone are the days where you get $20 for mowing the lawn,
dude,
or washing the dishes, $50 or to clean the car, all that stuff.
I don't know how we could make $50 last a month. $50 was such a large amount. I was like, holy shit, I got $50 from like Christmas or something. I felt like a millionaire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's unbelievable how times change. I think because then we had less responsibilities, and now we have, you know, more responsibilities. It's kind of like that same thing. It's the same deal. We're trying to stretch $20 out to last a week. Exactly. But back then, no responsibilities. We just had that limit of $20, and then you could spend it on anything. But now we have that $20, or we'll say $100, and try to stretch that out for a couple of days.
And it never does.
It's just crazy.
For some reason,
Man.
You look at your account and you're like, how did I spend $100 in an hour or something? Something ridiculous, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. That first weekend after payday is very critical of how you are as a person. when you check it on Sunday night and then realize how much money you spent throughout that whole weekend on that first week of that payday, you realize what type of person you really are.
It's like that meme. Have you seen that meme? There's like the meme goes, it's funny how your taste buds change as soon as you get your paycheck. So like you get paid, it's like lobster for all, lobster for you, lobster for you. By the end of it, you're like,
adds up, man.
2-minute noodles, please. It's like,
yeah. Or like I could deal with eating oxygen. It's okay. I could deal with this
oxygen, you know?
I mean, I remember that like at the very end of the pay cycle, my breakfast would be chewing gum for sure.
That's terrible, dude.
I'd eat some. I'd be in the car, just driving to my jobs, and then I'm like, chewing gum for breakfast. I eat 2 just to spoil myself,
Rap,
It just-
that's no
it's just-
diet. That's
it's just
actually
a
very
bad time
that's,
at the
that's
end of
terrible.
the-
That's like probably worse
Yeah.
than not eating. You know that actually eating
Yeah.
gum is worse when you're hungry is worse than not eating at all. Because like the action of chewing is getting the rest of your body ready for food. So it's like, you know, stomach's getting ready, and then the moment you spit the gum out, and then there's nothing coming in, your body's just like,
That's why.
what are you doing to me?
That's why I pop another one. So I go through a whole little packet within
keeps
one car ride.
It's like popping gum like it's
Wait, man.
drugs.
Yeah, at least it's just gum. If it's something else, then game over.
GG. That's hilarious.
But like, yeah, like back then, everything. I'm just thinking now, like, I'm not fussed about clothing anymore. I'm just focused on food, rather than clothes, and all this stuff to make me look better.
When you
Or
say
sometimes
food,
I get a
okay,
haircut, but it's mainly just food.
I think what you're getting at is experience over tangible things. Like, or like when you buy something, it's for a better use. Like if you're gonna buy something, you get something out of it. Like equipment is one thing you'd pay for. Anything that enhances your life experience, I guess, in that sense. I can't lie. I've been a bit superficial the past few years, like buying unnecessary shit. But I guess like part of the move here is to erase that. So definitely the life experience moving forward. You just start. I guess it comes with time. I'm not trying to say that there's this huge gap between, like, saying 20-year-olds haven't lived or anything, because by all means, some people that are young can have like a lot of traumatic stuff happening to them earlier on, but there's more of a chance that you're gonna encounter some certain types of events and emotions with an extra 10 years. Like 10 years is a lot of time, and I can speak for people that are probably 40 that are probably watching this and be like, well, you ain't seen nothing yet, son. 30-year-old you know, there's a lot more stuff can happen, and that's the beauty of it. I think it's just realization. You go through the times and you're like, it's great. I love reflecting back to then as well, to now. It's just, I had so much more to think about, and I can't remember.
It's a funny thing that you mentioned. When you're 20, you start spending all this disposable money just to make you feel better about yourself. And then when you hit your 30s, you get more responsible with your money, spend it on responsibility and anything to get you longevity. And then 40s, you get more wiser. But then you hit 50, fuck, I'm going to die soon. I'm going to start spending money like crazy. I'm going to buy a car. 50. I'm going to buy new clothes to look young.
How long are you planning to live? This guy 50, I'm going to die soon. So,
hey, man. I'm gonna die soon. Yeah, when you hit midlife crisis mode, man, it's just gonna go crazy. You're just gonna buy all this stuff that you wish you bought in your 30s. You know what I mean? And then, as you get older, you just realize
that's very true.
I should have bought this. I should have bought that. So I think it's just the balance of things.
I think that's called
pleasurable things.
That's called
as
the
well
midlife
as,
crisis. What you're talking about right there.
Yeah, that is a definite midlife crisis.
Midnight crisis. Ooh, it's
midnight crisis. Yeah, every midnight I just have an urge to spend money at Kmart.
Hey, don't diss Kmart. That's my favorite store.
No, Kmart's the best. As you hit 30, Kmart is your store.
There's no Kmart.
Kmart and Cotton. Oh, well, that's your loss. Don't you have an equivalent?
There's no equivalent. I can't find it. Either that or I just don't know where it is. Like, I don't know what it's called. But I can't find anything that's kind of Kmart-y.
Man.
It's shit.
They're just fucking up all the K's in your life, eh? Kmart, KFC.
Oh, man, you're right.
And
what's
that's
the other
all.
There's
yeah,
like
man.
two.
I don't know what I mean.
Up all your
two.
K's.
One too many, man. They're killing all your K's. Your special K.
KKK.
Your OKs. Your KKKs.
I'm trying to get comfortable here, man. Shit. Okay, yeah. It's a bit of a dead topic.
Yeah,
like, I'm trying to think of more.
Nah, man. Like, it's more like now I'm looking at stuff that I want longevity out of. Like, if I look at something and then I realize that it's gonna be gone within the next hour or day or so, then I won't buy it. I'll just become a cheap ass. I don't know. Like, it comes to a point where you look at prices and be like, I could get it 50 cents cheaper at this store, and then you walk all the way there. You know what I mean?
Might as well.
Start calculating your funds. It's crazy. Like you become more of a calculus type of person when it comes to money
And time.
instead
I'd
of
say. Especially time.
yeah, and time, everything.
I think time becomes the
everything's
most calculated thing when you're a bit older. Like, really spend wisely how you use your time, kind of thing. Once again, because you've got a bit of time behind you, you're like, I don't know. It's such a strange thing. I think, like, I'm trying to think of like the whole. I'm trying to go back to that topic. Like, I know I brought this topic up, but now I'm struggling to think some sort of, what's the word? Analogy. We always say analogy. We haven't said that in a long time. Another analogy for it. Going back to that,
Yeah.
it's kind of similar to how just if we compare life to, like, once again, our rap careers, because that's the only thing we can really talk about. It's like when you start in rapping, anything goes, you know? Like, you made 20 mixtapes. And I'm not going to lie, Raph, some of those mixtapes were garbage, bro. Chicken for your ear. Can you
Hey,
collab
man,
with me?
it's about the saturation. The
But
saturation
you know what I mean?
was
You just,
there.
like, drop
People
on
knew.
everything, say what you want, say it whatever you, in what sense. Now you're a bit more careful with how you do things. And that's kind of like life. When you're 20 years old, yeah, do this, do that. I don't know.
It's all trial. It's all trial and error at the start.
It's trial and error. That's
It's
perfect. Trial and error.
right now. It's still
Just like the cheat
right now.
coders,
It's still trial and error. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
That's what we are. Cheat coders is trial and error.
Trial
we
and
just
error.
say stuff, and then it, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We do stuff, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So,
Yeah.
cheat coders. Everyone's living the cheat coder life, so they should subscribe to our channel and like our page as well as give us a 5-star review. I'm trying to get our exposure
That was
out
not
there,
even
you know?
subtle. That wasn't even subtle. That wasn't even subtle.
Trying to get it out there, you know.
you-
I'm happy with all the exposure that we're getting. People actually notice that we're doing this podcast, and I appreciate everyone's feedback, whether it be family, friends, or even not even strangers, because we haven't reached that point yet. But one day we will.
Excellent. Do you have any other topics that you have, Raph? We kind of just waiting for me to drop a topic.
Yeah, and I do have some stuff that I had on my mind. Sometimes throughout the whole week, I'm be like, this is probably good to talk about.
Yeah.
Don't you notice that when you're starting to do this podcast, you start to think of what stories you can tell that happened
Well,
throughout
that's
the
why I
week,
got
'cause,
this
like,
book, but I don't utilize it enough. I can't find what I was writing. It's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo right now.
Yeah, it's just probably like words that
I think
you
it's
thought
better,
at the
like,
time you'll
the
understand.
more I'm actually trying to figure this out, the more I can't naturally think of stuff right now. That's what I'm realizing. Like right now as we speak, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas everything else was just so
Yeah.
free flowing. The fact that I wrote that down, it's kind of, I think it's messing me up, man. Let's just start again. Let's start again.
But
What was the
this
first
is,
thing? Okay, look, back to look. All right, so we talked about our 20s.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
20s, that's how we were thinking. That's the kind of things we were thinking. Right when you crossed over, I don't think we actually talked about this in detail, eh? When you turned 30 in January. Did we talk about this in the Cheat Coders? I don't think we even did an episode about
Nah,
this.
we mentioned it, but
You know how
nothing
everyone-
happened.
Everyone
we didn't talk
puts
about it.
everyone puts turning 30 on a pedestal, yeah? A lot of our friends are turning 30.
Yeah.
Actually, this year is the year that majority of my friends are starting to turn 30. And it's kind of sucks that I'm missing out on all these birthday parties. But, shout outs to friends turning 30. So there's this big build-up.
Shout outs to all 30-year-olds.
So what was that? Oh,
Shout
shout
out to all 30-year-olds.
Yeah, shout outs.
Shout out.
Shout outs. Crossing over. There's such a big deal about it. There's like it's on a pedestal. Everyone thinks it's a big thing. Turn 30, what changed? Like in terms of that you crossed over. Just give me your thoughts. What exactly was going through your head and what happened when you turned? It's like you're a zombie. I turned. It became old. Grey hairs just started popping out of nowhere.
No. It was nothing drastic, but like the first thing that I thought of is like, damn, I gotta start celebrating my birthday every 10 years now. Because everything in between doesn't count. Like,
Literally. Is
I
that the
can't
first thing
celebrate
that popped in your
31,
head? You're like,
32,
whoa.
33. Yeah. Yeah, because like usually
It's
the
like
whole
the la-
20s,
it's like the
every
last big
year,
one, eh?
you pretty much celebrate.
It's the
Last big one until you reach 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you celebrate in decades now. Like you'd have the occasional like gatherings for birthdays, but the big ones, the massive ones, are every decade after 30. So that's the end of my birthday run. So but
It's good you mentioned that.
anything else like probably I'll be thinking about. Yeah.
Oh no, I was saying continue. Unless you want me to go.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's just, I'm just thinking about my health now.
Yeah.
Health is becoming priority one now.
Yep.
As in, like, I gotta get my eyes sorted out. I gotta get my back sorted out. Gotta be more fit.
Yeah,
Just
of
probably
course.
had a fitness run, like, try to, I'm just realizing that my metabolism has gone lower. Like, I can't eat as much as I can before because I used to eat a lot, and nowadays it's just not to that standard anymore. That I just have to think about what I eat. I have to become fit.
Yeah,
Have to,
you really feel it. You can
prolong
really,
my
you can really
life.
feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you feel it. Yeah,
Priorities change.
yeah.
It's-
You start feeling your flaws start showing after 30.
Just to all the people that a lot of friends turning 30, right? There's that big whole turning 30, midlife crisis. You reflect a lot, like, what have I done, kind of thing, right? That's the biggest thing you think about. You're like, shit, am I on par? Because especially it's a new game. When you're 20, it's always a comparison game, which is something like, you have to admit, everyone does at one stage. Some people still do. I can say that I've sort of like just gotten over that shit. In terms of comparison back then, when we were 20, things we compared with our peers, who had dated the most, who's got the best following, who's got the best raps, who's best who's the best at basketball, who's got the flyest kicks, who's got the coolest friends, who's got those new Jordan drops or whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. It was like, it was a different thing.
Yeah, and
Life game
well,
changes.
even that is like, how did you get those shoes, and then how did you get this, and like, what did you do to get
Yeah,
that
yeah,
girl?
yeah.
It just goes, yeah, all
It's-
this stuff. Yeah,
It's a larger scale. You get a bit older. It's like, well, how did you get this job? How are you on this level? How did you buy a house? How did you start this business? It just becomes a bigger game, right? And it's just different levels, because obviously you've got that experience. So when you hit 30, you obviously think you're going to proper adulthood. Like, I feel like the 20s is a real sort of like shapes you. It's like your transition from, your youth. There's certain expectations that you build in your mind because society builds that for you, kind of thing. Like, where have I? Have I been well traveled enough? Am I at the stage of my career that I want to be? Do I have kids? Do I have a family? Am I earning this amount? Am I, a lot of that stuff as well. And then you think about it, like, I think that's where the whole midlife crisis thing comes along, because people have this expectation that they should be at this certain point. And not gonna lie, like, I've fallen victim to that. I think we all have at one point, kind of thing. Because, like, it changes everything. It's like, well, you're 30 now. It's like, shit. You know what I mean? Like, things start to sort of get to you in that sense. Like, if someone makes a comment, like, especially philo parents, like, oh, you're not married yet, or something like that, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you haven't traveled, or like shit like that, It's like, how can you possibly tick off all the, like, some people can, which is great. Some people, but at the end of the day, people travel at their own pace. And I think putting this age bracket on such a pedestal puts that pressure on even more. That the funny thing is that I've realized, this is for me personally now, as soon as I turned 30, I had sort of more, it was overwhelming getting there, but once I actually hit it, it's going to sound cliche to a lot of people that are already 30, but really nothing changes. In a sense, for me, it kind of became a relief. The way I looked at it, it was sort of like like you said, levels. The next big thing's 40 now. It kind of restart the whole game for me again. I don't know if you felt the same thing, but when I turned 30, suddenly I'm like, well, I've got until 40 now. There's a lot of things on my list I haven't done that I thought I was going to do by now. But now I've got until 40, you know what I mean? I don't want to get too deep to make it
Clean
sound
slate,
old thing.
yeah.
It kind of
Yeah.
just resets it. Now I've got like till 40. It's like, okay, thank God. Like, of course, there was a point, like maybe from 30 to 31, I was just like, shit, what am I doing, kind of thing. I should have done this by now, or done this, kind of thing. And at the end of the day, it's like, it's just a number. Like, what I'm trying to get at with this whole thing, yes, it's a great accomplishment. It's a big thing to get to your 30s. But I think sometimes us as humans, we create this big thing about it where sometimes it can work in a negative way for a lot of people. I think. I don't know. That's just what I think right now. Because, yeah, now that I'm 30,
Yes,
it's like...
age is just a number type of thing,
It's just
right?
it's just a number at the end. It's like it doesn't matter
It's just a
if
number.
doesn't matter if you haven't done XYZ. It's just everyone moves at their own pace. And like the funny conversation I have that I've noticed, you obviously talk to people in your same age group, in peers. And the funny thing is when you talk to people that are a bit younger, it's sort of like you're not there to try and prove them wrong. Some people are quite wise. They mature very early as well. And it's great to see that because like certain people you can talk to some people on that level, even them being young. But it's great to compare where people's minds are with things. And the funny observation I have with so many people, everyone wants what they don't have. You with me here?
Yeah.
Like you talk to people that don't have a house. They're like, oh, like everyone else is like in the game for this. You know what I mean? They don't see on the trade-off, maybe people that have a house don't have what they have. Maybe these people that haven't bought a house, they've traveled, maybe they have a family already. Things that some people might not have. There's always the other and it goes vice versa. Someone that completely has not traveled, which was me. Like I didn't travel enough. That was one thing that was eating me up. I was like, oh, I haven't properly been able to see the world. But I didn't see that maybe these people that have traveled don't have what I have kind of thing as well. It's all a balancing act. There's only so much you can do with the time you have, right? Like from 20 to 30, you can't expect someone to have just ticked everything on the list. And you just realize not everyone has it as all together as they seem. Like social media portrays, you always only see the good stuff. So obviously, if you're sitting on Facebook all day, someone bought a house, someone's in the Caribbean, someone's killing it in their career, or someone's in their job that they love, that they do every day. But that's all you see, the good stuff. And I think a lot of it comes down to it when you pull it back a bit. You just realize, like, I guarantee you, it doesn't matter how much or how little you have, you've still got something. Like, come on, there's a lot of time that you've got something that not everyone has as well, kind of thing, that they wish you had. And it's not about saying that I've got it and you don't. It's more about just being happy with what you have, kind of thing. Like you've got it, you're alive, and you've got the rest of adulthood to pursue what you have. Use it as motivation in a sense. So,
Yeah.
do you get
I
that? Do you feel
understand,
that? So I'm trying to say it in a bit better, but you know.
I can understand. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Cool.
People are just wired to want the things that they don't have.
That's it.
That's why media has manipulated that factor into like what they present, as in like rappers talk about all this stuff that we want and then present it in the way that they have it all, and then we love that shit. We love watching that shit, hearing that shit, because it's stuff that we want to see, stuff that we want to have. We always try to live we try to live through someone else.
Yeah.
When we see a movie, we love watching movies that we wish we could be that person, living that life, having these characteristics that we don't see in ourselves.
It's always,
so we strive.
That's always
and we
the
look
thing,
at
right?
that person. It's always a thing. It's part of being human, trying to.
It's like, I want what that person has, kind of
I want
thing.
that.
And then you forget what
that.
you actually have yourself. Like, you could have something amazing. I think those are the things that really stunts us from greater things. Because, like, it's just, you forget what you actually have currently. And you're just always fixated on what others have. And you realize it goes both ways. Whatever that person, they can see that you have. Just have I guarantee you, anyone talk to someone that they know and just talk about things that are going on in their lives. And then, like, as everyone always talks about positive, obviously, like good things. No one's going to talk to you and open up about the worst thing that's happened to them immediately, kind of thing. That's not a real conversation. That's a downer. And everyone will always be happy for you. Like, genuine people, genuine friends will always be happy for what you're doing. And deep down would be like, I really wish I had what this guy's got going on, or what this guy's doing, this guy or girl. And then when you share, like, a genuine good friend would be saying the same thing. Because it's like, But a lot of times we're like blind to see that what we actually have is actually really great, and what a lot of people wish they had as well, but maybe not at this time. It's just a funny observation that I guess I had, because it's just something I've been seeing. Like it's a catch-22. Everyone's just fixated on what the other person has, and it's like it sort of made me stop for a minute, and I was like, is anyone even really that like satisfied with what they have? Like, there are people that are, but as a generalized observation, it just seems like everyone else wants what they don't have, or what the next person does, kind of thing. And I don't know, that's something people can think about. And it's
everyone just wants to compare themselves to someone else.
Yeah, where they're at,
what they see on TV, or their friends, or the people in their social media.
They always compare themselves to them. TV and social media.
Yeah,
I'd say more so just social media and just society, what it is. That's why I sort of wanted to bring up the whole transitioning into 30 thing, because it definitely is something that plays on people's minds, I guess. It's like a race, almost a race to where you at, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just trying to compete with everyone. Everyone's like,
compete, yeah.
I want what this person has. I want to be on that level that they've reached, but not knowing, like, they should understand that at the same time that person may be looking at you in a way, be like, I wish I had that quality. And there's always going to be something that someone will look at you that someone else wants, while you're looking at them, being, I want that. Like, I always look at it like, sometimes when I come to those situations where I look at TV and be like, man, this guy's so talented. Leonardo DiCaprio is a very talented person, and he'd probably be better at me at getting women, acting, probably is an activist as well. And then at the very end, I'm like thinking to myself, you know what? I'm probably a better basketball player than he is. I'm probably a better
I like that. What an optimist.
Food connoisseur than he is.
Raph the optimist.
Yeah, you got to think very half full.
You have to
can't
think
be
like
completely better than a person.
And this is what
and someone can't be completely better than you.
And this is what I'm trying to get at with this whole topic. It's like the moment you sort of alleviate that pressure on yourself, at the end of the day, it's you just putting this pressure on yourself, actually, kind of thing, to be, because you're comparing to what you have to be with other people. That might not be your forte. That might not be your calling. Everyone's got their own niche. Some people are talented at multiple things. And that's what separates greatness from... Of course, there's going to be some people that are superhuman. Like, that there's a reason why famous people at that caliber of talent is at that level of talent. You know what I mean? Like Michael Jordan or something. There's a reason he's there, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But people need to sort of get that out of their head. You can't compare. There's no compare. Everyone has their own authenticity and story, and their own. No one can emulate you. Everyone's DNA is different. What makes you kind of thing. As corny as that freaking sounds, you know what I mean? When you alleviate that thought in your head, I think that's the one thing that's made me a lot happier, kind of thing. When you just sort of just drop everything, just like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I just care about what I do and like what I can give to the world in a sense of my energy, and that can be in the form of like with friendships, career, health, like you say, like a big thing. It's like, yeah, I may not be the best person at the gym, but I think like in my level of the gym, as long as I'm happy with it and I can get the results that I need for me, because I'm not trying to be the next basketball player. I just want to be able to run a marathon, kind of thing. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. The moment you start just competing with yourself, and making yourself a priority, I think that's when things really start to change. And a lot of these things that you just really cared about when you were 20, transitioning into 30, and you could still be at 30 and still be thinking like that, because I know I was. I'm 31 now, so it's taken a year. But like, it really changes everything. It really changes you in a good way. You know what I mean? It's funny observation. Didn't want to get too deep today. Sorry, dude. I know we talked about it, like, let's keep it light. That didn't happen, but
it never does.
I didn't think it was gonna be. I didn't think it was gonna be a deep one. My bad. But yeah,
it looked like you had something. You wanted to let out something. You had something to say. So
I didn't see it was gonna be like that. I thought it was gonna be a really funny comparison thing. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, you've been talking about this and that. No. Anyway.
But something inside of you was like saying, man, I really have this comparison that I need to let out. I need to let people know that I'm that I'm feeling this way, you know. Hey man, do you, man? I'm listening.
Hey, to keep it light, I don't even know where this is gonna segue to, but like funny interaction. You're gonna have to butt in because like I don't know where this is gonna go, but like I think it kind of relates. I don't want to overthink it. Before I left Sydney, right? Oh shit, my battery's running out. If it runs out, I'm sorry. But anyway, Sydney. My last month in Sydney, I was swagging out a bit. So I was going to Culture Kings a lot. Yeah, I was going to Culture Kings. I was like, I'm back in the game. I got to look fresh. Buying
21
t-shirt.
Forever, bro.
21
You're just feeling that swag, bro.
That was the first time I bought anything in Culture Kings. I never went to Culture Kings. I was like, Culture Kings, I'm too old for this. And I'm like, they actually have really cool clothes in Culture Kings. Like, I'm not gonna buy a freaking swagadelic shirt. Like, even the normal plain shirts.
After you buy a few things from Culture Kings, you gotta have to justify that. It's pretty good clothes. That's why I paid $70 for this shirt.
Hey, surprisingly not, it wasn't that expensive. Like, the clothes aren't bad. Like, I think it's just got this, I wouldn't say a stigma, but it's a young person's store. But anyway, I was there. No joke. This kid, shout outs to the kid, because I don't know if you watch my podcast. But anyway, I think it was his first day at Culture Kings. He was on his, he was like a temporary, no, he was on his trial. I've never worked in retail, but I think he was on his trial run to like, to see if they'd hire him or not. Anyway, I was like free. Yeah. I didn't have anything better to do. I'd finished work. I'm just chilling out. And he comes around and he genuinely says, yeah, it's my first day. So I'm just trying to make an impression. So I'm like, all right, I'll play kind of thing. I was like, oh yeah, look, all good, man. Like, just keep talking to me. I'll keep talking to you. So it looks like you're like really selling it to me kind of thing. And you'll get this job for sure kind of thing. He kept going. And like, what's he saying? Something that he said really hit me. We started getting into conversations like, so you're in a suit. What do you do? You're like a businessman. It's like, nah, I just work in an office kind of thing. Oh, damn. And I'm like, it's really not that big of a deal, but am I that old kind of thing? Like, I was starting to think, am I this old that he's thinking I'm in this? And then like, I didn't even want to tell him what I did. It's like, I don't even think this guy knows what I do. And I'm like, yeah, I work in an office, little insurance firm. And he's like, oh, what do you do there? And I'm like, all right, he's going to keep asking. Like, yeah, so I'm an insurance broker. Like, I don't know what more I can say. That's what I do. It's like, and he's like, oh, do you enjoy it? Are you happy? And I was like, fuck. I'm like, what is this? Am I in therapy right now? I'm like, why am I answering to this? Like, I was sort of like just hitting him like, well, it pays the bills. I wouldn't say it's my passion, but like, I'm there now. It's like, and then like he started going on.
What he was doing, he was giving you this. He's a really good salesperson because he's making you depressed, so you can have retail therapy.
You know this because you worked in retail, didn't you? You know this.
Yeah,
right?
I've done retail for like 5 to 6 years. I got the experience.
Here
I know the ins and outs.
Here I am trying to justify it to this kid that's like, I don't think he was 20. I think he was 18, and I'm just trying to justify. Like, look, it's just part of life. You grow up. Because like he started saying stuff, like, oh yeah, I just can't imagine doing that, man. Like, having responsibilities. Like, oh, I don't know, man. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, well, you're gonna have them someday, You can't just be culture kinged up forever. You know what I mean? And then like, it just got funny because I was trying to like prove myself to this kid, and I realized like, I don't think anything I can say is gonna help at this point. Like, he's a good kid. But it was just funny. It was just like, such a range in gap of like where our minds were at. Like, I just didn't know what to say. And a lot of stuff he said was valid. Like when he said, different. Are you happy? And I'm just like, I guess so, but I don't know anymore.
Well, I'll get these shoes.
It's like, top. You know what, just give me some clothes. I'll be on my way because I'm done. You know what I mean?
I am done. I'll
funny
spend
thing,
$300 here now.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Funny thing, every time I went, the dude was like, "Hey," and like we kind of became mates. I'm like, "Hey, dude, what's up? So I guess you got the job. Props, man, props." And then like at that time when I first met him, I was just stuck into the whole Like, I wasn't even thinking about anything else. I was just, not like in the rat race, just working, buy shit, go get some drinks, go home. Like, that world wasn't even existent for this kid. The next time I saw him, I was like, hey, let me share something with you. Because that's when I started getting back into music. And I was like, hey, yeah, I used to be a rapper. Trying to get back into it again. This is my page. And the kid's, his eyes lit up. I was like, oh, what? That's so cool, man. And I'm like, yeah, you remind me when I was younger. I need that flair. I need that flair.
You remind me when I was
You remind
younger.
me when I just didn't care about all of this. And all that mattered was my raps. Anyway, I don't think that's really going to accomplish this. Me saying this story doesn't help anyone. I just wanted to share that. It's pretty funny. It was just like a glimpse into my past when I was talking to this kid.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, shout outs to that kid. He's a good kid.
I remember shout outs. We'll call him Frank for now. But shout outs to Frank.
Shout outs to Frank.
I remember like when I worked at New Balance in retail, there was this girl who handed in their resume.
Yeah.
And this showed how old I was. She handed in a resume, and then all right, cool. I'll check it. I'll go put it in the resume tray with all the other resumes that will never get checked.
Yeah.
And then I checked the date of birth. Date of birth was the year that she was born was 2001.
Oh no.
And then I'm like, oh, once I saw that, I realized I gotta get out of here. I'm like,
Raph,
this is not my playing field.
How long ago was this?
This was last year. No, not last year. 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago.
It's like, I got to get out.
I got to get out. This is a teenage game, right?
And you made it happen, bro. You made it happen. You're out.
What? Yeah. She was there when fucking 50 Cent was popping. She came out of the womb when G Unit was a thing.
When G Unit was
popping. Out of the
popping.
womb. Yeah, she didn't experience the Sydney Olympics when he came here. You know, when you put it to perspective.
I love your comparisons to just. She wasn't here during the Olympics. I gotta get out.
Yeah. I gotta get out of here, man.
That's ridiculous.
You know, she wouldn't know what FUBU is, you know? She wouldn't know what a Walkman is or a Discman.
One of those memes is like, if she doesn't know FUBU, she's too young for you, bro. Something like that.
You know, I don't think she would know the iMacs that had the colorful backs and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the screens with the back and she wouldn't know what a pencil is.
Did they use pencils still in school? I don't think so.
I don't know. I think they use all laptops now.
Yeah, it's
all
iPads and shit, eh? It's all like
all
new
iPads
age.
and laptops. I remember when I was in school, there was like friggin' 3 laptops to share amongst a whole class.
Bruh, you guys had laptops?
You get to use the laptop.
Dude, we had one Mac, and it wasn't like a thin Mac. It was the big cube one, and it was one of those sitting in the library. I never even got to use it, kind of thing. Like, there was a waiting line. One computer. It's crazy.
And then you have to reserve it and stuff.
Reserve
like 2
it,
weeks
yeah.
in advance.
Yeah, this was primary though, so that's going back. Look, we're going way back now. Are we gonna go through like the whole timeline?
Back, bro.
2030. Now what?
Yeah.
Teens.
Man, she was born 2 years before Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight was out. You know.
What? When did Dark Knight come out? No.
Wait.
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Wait, 2003. No.
Nah,
Sorry.
bro.
The other Batman.
The other Batman. Okay, I feel better now. I feel a bit better now. I was like, no.
Or I think the better analogy is the first Batman that she's seen was the Christian Bale Batman.
Okay, that's better. That makes me.
That's much better. Yeah.
That's cool. All right, excellent. Dirty 30s.
Speaking of comic book stuff, have you because I listen to podcasts and everything, and they have the new Marvel Wolverine podcast out, and it's not a podcast where people talk to each other and they talk about Wolverine. It's an actual story podcast. So it's like watching a movie but audio only. So they have all these voice actors, and it's a series. It comes out every single week. It's just interesting because like I've never experienced that.
Who are the voice actors? Are they the actual actors from the movies, or just some randoms that?
No. It's just some randoms. Like I think there's like one big name out of the whole bunch, but yeah, Stitcher and Marvel have combined forces to make this podcast, and it's really good. It's like it's not too much action because it's very dialogue based. It's like it's a mystery. So there's like spoilers alert. There's like a killing happening, a serial killer on the loose, and everyone's assuming it's Wolverine because of all the hints and the clues, and everyone's telling their stories about their interaction with Wolverine, and you're trying to piece it together. So
it's an interesting
really
concept.
Interesting
Yeah. Are you following this? You're following this for sure.
Yeah, I'm following it.
Like,
like, I'm on episode 4, man, and I think you should get into it. You have to go to Stitcher Premium though, pay $6 a month. But like,
are you paying that?
It's amazing. I'm paying for it. It's like $6 a month. It's so good.
I might give it a go. Something
it's different because like I always listen to podcasts where they're just having a conversation,
it's an
or there's an
concept.
analysis of a particular thing. But this is a story.
It's an interesting concept. It's different, eh? That's very different.
Yeah.
That's
and that makes me think back to when I listened to a documentary podcast where they did. I think it's called Mogul. It's a hip hop documentary podcast. So they followed the life of Chris Lighty, and how he came to prominence from his early stages to the high stages until his death. Okay. So you kind of learn a lot as well. And there's all these interviews with all these rappers and famous rappers, like and then they just go through his history. It's crazy. Like the podcast game has been changing from just talking and discussion, and it's taking it back to the days when in the 1930s where people listened to the radio before TV, and they would listen to a horror story with Dracula or something like that. It's amazing. It's just come back full circle.
You're absolutely right, especially that sort of, I guess, wasn't really a guess, but you predicted that the future wave is I think you're right, man. Like you see it happening. I don't know if it's like, you know, when you're just more aware of something because someone points it out. Like, what's an example?
Yeah.
Like you're thinking about a particular car that you want to buy, and suddenly you're seeing that car everywhere you go, kind of thing. But ever since we did podcasts, I don't know if it's just my radar is more awake when I like anything to do with podcasts, but I'm really starting to see a lot of these concepts about like podcasting is the new thing, kind of thing. Like it's the new wave of the direction where I don't know, the next big thing, which is what you said when we started this. So it's kind of cool being in that wave, you know.
I'm sure documentary podcasts and story podcasts has been happening for like a decade or so, but its prominence and effect in the culture and in the world is just it's growing rapidly, and it's just we need to ride that wave, man.
Yeah.
Like everyone else should get onto it, because like I'm really thinking that this podcast thing is gonna erase radio, and all the radio people, all the Kyle and Jackie O's, all the Hamish and Andy are just gonna adapt to podcasts, and it's gonna be all digital, you know.
Hey, so. Can I bring this up? This is a great point that you raised, mate. Really good point you raise. A lot of these self-help gurus, a lot of these influencers, I guess, especially Gary Vee, he speaks about it a lot. But you see it now. A lot of traditional ways, a lot of traditional systems that exist now, they're obviously on their way of becoming obsolete. So a lot of people will ask Gary Vee, like, what would you rather appear on? Like, if you had a choice. And he was talking about opportunity, I guess. He's like, would you appear on so-and-so's podcast, which has a reach of over 1 million people, or appear on this network TV with obviously like a proper broadcasted network? It's like, well, firstly, I do both, kind of thing, because I'm not going to like pick one platform over the other, kind of thing. Exposure is exposure, no matter what. I'll go where the attention is. But if you look at it in pure stats perspective as well, when you look at it like radio, TV, all the traditional ways of like sourcing information, that stuff's on a steady decline. Like you can't deny it. Like you've seen it with music, like already, like the music industry how we purchase music, CDs and all that, that's on a decline while you have streaming on the rise. So obviously you'd bank on the thing that's climbing, like you said, the wave. You got to climb and ride that wave. And he said, like, if I had to choose the two, I'd appear on a podcast, because that's where statistically, like, this medium is the one is growing, kind of thing. Like, why would you hold on to a dying platform, kind of thing? While he's saying not to completely ignore it, because there's still an audience there, but in terms of long term and the way of the future, the numbers speak for itself, kind of thing, in that sense as well. I think a good thing that he mentions. Let me just pull this up. Wait, what am I getting at with this?
Good thing he mentioned.
I had a really good point, and now it's gone. Do you have anything to add to this? Sorry,
radio. Yeah, keep going.
No. Do you have anything to add? Sorry. I'm still thinking.
Yeah, like, I think it's a generational thing. Like, 2 generations below us is gonna be all digital. It's gonna come to a point where, like, the old school people and their old school antics and things that they like is just gonna be erased just from, life, because now digital is becoming more prominent, and then it comes to a point where, like, digital jobs here and there and is growing, and then new jobs here and there.
Yes.
It's coming to a point where as generations keep coming past this earth, things just get erased, and radio, television, all that stuff is next. And then
this is actually
wave
it.
Of
This is a
like
perfect
streaming.
way. This is a perfect way to see it. It's like people that know how to utilize the medium. Like, there's talent, no matter what, there's talent everywhere, right? And it's a good thing that you mentioned. Even like with Will Smith, Will Smith there's like 2 worlds here, right? There's the mainstream world that people came up in at a time where the way to get there was through your traditional ways. Like, it could be a record label, it could be a directing company, or, like, you know what I mean? Like a movie, a studio. These were the ways to get in, and there's so many different filters to get through to even be on that level. Then you have people like Will Smith, went through that traditional way, but Will Smith's smart, right? 1, he's got the talent, but 2, he knows that this is where the world is turning to. So he's banked on the Instagram game, and he uses it well, yeah? Very well.
Yeah.
You see it already with a lot of, like, if you use an example of, like, just TV networks, broadcasting, it could be media, journalism, like traditional news networks, even anchors and stuff, right? People's attention, when you look for news, yeah? Of course, you have people that are going to still go to the news. I still go to the news for sure. But majority, if you see it, people tend to go online first. Like, things will come up on Facebook before you see it on TVs. Would you agree? Usually, going to the TVs just to confirm if it's true or not. Because if it's on TV, it must be real, even though that might not even be the case. Because sometimes, that sometimes things on the TV aren't as accurate as they say they are. They'll have a few more TV runs before the final stats come. Like, maybe a disaster happens, the final numbers will come after, like, whoever knows. Because I feel like TV sometimes is playing catch up to the real world. Because, 1, they have a lot of filters they have to get through before they could probably broadcast something. Whereas Facebook, it might not be the right information right at the start, but shit spreads like fire. And especially if it comes from a source that's obviously trusted in a network. People can make that decision. If they can get information from a certain source, they'll believe it or not, weighing on the credibility of that individual person, kind of thing. What I'm trying to get at, I'm like stretching this point out way too long. What they're saying is, like,
keep going, man.
If these network anchors and stuff, they got the talent, right? They're the face of TV or whatever. But if the way the world's going, one day that network that they might be on might be completely gone. One day, you never know. CNN or whatever, big call, but you never know. In like years' time, like you say, if the world moves to this digital age, like you say, they got to ride that wave. And a lot of these people, presenters, anchors or whatever, that present information, 1, at the end of the day, their job is pretty much the same as the next influencer kind of thing. Except the influencer, they just jump on their own platform, bang. 1 minute, it's there in front of their 2 million viewers or whatever it is, kind of thing. these guys can either ride the wave, like, yeah, they might lose their job, find another network that they can, because they think that might be their only forte, like to keep another job at a big network. Or two, dude, they have the following. These big names. Imagine if they just started their own, like got their own following to present news in their own way, on their own terms, kind of thing. Which is, in this new age, that's what it really is. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? There's just no more of these barriers that keep people from presenting the kind of content that they want to anymore. And I think that's the main difference between the two different, like the new ages that are coming, this new dawn that's coming. It's literally like information is instant now. Like traditional ways of how things work is becoming obsolete. And like, I use Will Smith as a great example because he's like, no, he's not a television dude or whatever, but he's someone that's come from that era of, you know, structure and this is the way things have to be done. But he's sort of just, whoop, jump to the other side of the fence. I can do this. I'll just get an Instagram following, and he's killing it right now, kind of thing. He does it so well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If movie stars could do the same thing as him, and that can transcend to even news reporters, to journalists. Like, you don't want to be a journalist and then like, they're saying journalism's dead. Basically, they're saying, right? It's dead because of content producers that do it themselves now. It's like, well, it's only dead if it's dead for you. Like, if you want to stick to that old way of doing things, if you're a journalist, then it is dead for you in that sense. Unless you can be a Will Smith and be smart and just do it your own way, kind of thing. Because you've already got that credibility. You're famous in that in your own right. Does that make sense? Sorry.
Yeah. I know, it makes sense. It makes sense. But on the flip side, not everyone can be a Will Smith because like maybe people like up there, journalists and reporters, they rely on those barriers. They rely on the filters because if they just go unfiltered, maybe they just not as good as they are supposed to be. Because the whole with podcast, if they were to approach podcast, it's unfiltered, it's unedited. Your whole
it's a different
persona
game.
And the way it's a different way of approaching things. Your whole persona is exposed to the world, and everyone can see you for you, raw and uncut. Well, when they're out there in the like in a studio or like a program or network, that all those filters have molded them into this kind of persona that they built for the last 10 to 15 years. And it just comes to a point where it's either that if they approach the whole digital game and do things themselves, they could probably sink, or they could be a Will Smith. So it's a bit tricky. It really depends. I think not everyone can adapt to this change because it's such an open forum. And I think he's cut out. He's cut out. Okay, so some technical difficulties. We have to finish the episode, cut it short. It was a long episode anyway. So to all the fans out there, I would like to thank you guys for listening all the way from 1 to 30. There's going to be more episodes coming. Enjoy and subscribe and give us a 5-star review. We do have a couple 5-star reviews we're going to shout out. I want to shout out with Nats on the other line, so we'll wait till the next episode, and then hopefully we get more then, and then we'll share them all together. So follow the Cheatcoders in Apple Podcasts, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Mixcloud, and hopefully we'll get to the other platforms. But yeah, follow them and you'll get all the updates on all those channels. So enjoy your day, enjoy your night, and have a great life and weekend. Long weekend!